It's time to burn your to-do list. What's up, socials? Welcome back to Amy TV. Time is our most precious asset. You can't get more of it, and everyone on the planet has the same amount of it. It's kind of crazy to think of it that way. What you decide to do with your time is completely up to you. It may not seem like that, but it's true. Probably one of the reasons that you're watching this video right now is you're not making the most out of the time that you have. You know it, and you're kind of beating yourself up about it, and you want to learn what it actually means to do something about it. You wish you were accomplishing more, and the really great news about this is you have all the time that you need if you want to accomplish more. Today I want to share with you the time management tips that have completely changed my life, allowed me to get a lot more done in a shorter amount of time, or at least get as focused as possible in the time that I am allotted in order to accomplish more. And I'm actually going to call on my friend Chris Ducker to chime in on this as well. Before we dive in, I just want to double check. Are you subscribed to this channel? Are you? You know, if you subscribe and you turn on notifications, I am telling you, I promise, and you can ask any social that's been around for a while, I will make it well worth your time. Starting right now. So you want to get more done. People are not magical. They are not born productive. None of us are really born productive. It's a culture. And that instant change cannot happen until you make that big first step that's critical to this process, and that is your mindset shift. What does that mean? That's like super buzzy. People are talking about that mindset shift all the time. Like, what does that actually mean? Well, first you kind of need to look at how you ask questions right now. If you're asking questions like, why should I wake up early? Why do I need to use a calendar? What's the importance of planning ahead? You're probably not in the space right now to get more productive because you're holding yourself up with the mindset that you currently have as to what the point of that would be anyway. The people that have made that mindset shift are less likely to ask, should I wake up early in the morning? And are more likely to ask, how much time do I have in the morning before my first appointment to myself that I can get things done? Or maybe they're asking, when should I schedule my workouts this week? Or how about, what can I do in this 30-minute pocket of time between dropping the kids off and going to the next thing? When you're questioning why you would go ahead of the curve, why you would plan ahead, why all of those things are important, you're not as likely to be able to make that instant change because you don't see the value in time the way somebody who understands what it means to be productive, not for the sake of saying the word is, but because of how much they're able to get done, and they see every moment in time as a very valuable asset, as a vehicle to move forward. So you'll really know when you've had this mindset shift, when you start to reframe your questions, when you start to notice yourself moving in that direction. If you feel that shift, if you're there, then we can move forward. And I'm so excited about that because now it's time for you to use your calendar. I don't care if your calendar is on the refrigerator, on your desktop, in your bullet journal, on your phone, it does not matter. You need to use it. I like to quote Peter Drucker in this case because if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. The calendar is where you're going to plan and track your time. This is the best place to do it because it's quite literally a list of all of the hours in the day that you have and how much of it you can use and how much of it you should be sleeping, how much you've given away to other people. You have to be able to analyze it and look at it. I've talked to you in a previous video about a specific tactic that I use on my calendar, which is calendar blocking. You can go watch that to get more of a synopsis of how exactly this happens, but the overall takeaway here is track every single thing that you do on the calendar. It kind of goes to like dieting. You know how they say you should track everything you eat so you can get a feel for what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, where you can make small changes to make all the difference and lose a few lbs? That's basically what we're doing here. So if you're not quite sure about planning ahead or using your calendar yet, you could at least start at this moment where you can just block out the time that you spend doing things so that when you see that 2 hour, let's be real, maybe it's 3 or 4 hours of time that you spent in the evening after work, vegging out in front of the TV and Instagram stalking, you have to fully take that in because you are typing it in or writing it down as something you did for 2 to 3 to 4 hours. Tomorrow, when you're tracking your time, you're probably going to think to yourself, what could I have done in that amount of time yesterday that I could do instead today? Is it finish the laundry? Is it write a blog post? Is it search for a new job? Even taking an hour out of that chunk of time and doing something more productive with it moves you so much further ahead, and then you still get the enjoyment of the scroll. So meanwhile, you probably have this other tactic that hasn't really been working for you, the to-do list. which is actually, in my opinion, called the should-do list, and you know how I feel about shoulding all over yourself. That list is staring you in the face, not becoming a reality, but more guilt-tripping you on the things that you're not doing, which is just not productive all on its own because you're just beating yourself up over it. The goal here is to take that to-do list, if that is an easy way for you to track things that you have to get done, fine, into time, into real spaces of time that you can work and get it done. And hopefully in a short amount of time, because just looking at it is taking longer than probably achieving a lot of this stuff. Some of the tough conversation that we've had here on this channel in the comments is pushback from parents. I don't have that perspective to offer. I don't have kids. I have a really high maintenance dog, but that's as difficult as my life gets lately. So I understand that it can be a little bit difficult to listen to me and go, yeah, sure, I'm just gonna block out my time and follow it verbatim. When the reality is, how can you be more strict and more rigid with your time when you have kids who tend to make your life a little bit more of a variable, which, although is not a part of my personal life at this point in time, is absolutely something I can understand that you would be grappling with and may be one of those mindset barriers that's holding you back. But what if we could just call children that urgency in your life that could happen to anyone, like someone's boss taking somebody out of a project and saying this is more important. Or maybe somebody has a client and they don't show up for their session because they don't feel like it today, but you planned on it and now all of a sudden you have this gaping hole of time that you didn't apply for something else. Planning your time is never going to be perfect, but planning on these moments that are variable, that move around, is so vital for you being able to swoop in that moment and be able to move things around. Speaking of that, I'm just gonna bring Chris into this now. Chris Ducker is a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author. He is an event coordinator of some of the coolest events I've ever spoken at and been to. He is a father and a very, very dear friend of mine. I sat down with him while I was at a conference in San Diego because I thought maybe he could offer a little bit more of this perspective that would be useful for you.
Chris, I know you're gonna get this because I talk about this so much, the value of a calendar. I'm actually starting to wonder if it's a weakness how much I use my calendar. I'm very rigid with my time, but I think you're similar to me, so I kind of want to break this down on a level that makes more sense,
Okay.
right? Using your calendar to schedule everything, but like emphasis on the word everything.
Yes.
You have accomplished a lot. You've done a lot of things. You have books and businesses and you're moving here and there and you're launching events. I mean, like there's so much that goes into that. And it can feel very overwhelming to get there someday. Scheduling everything got you there.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? Like when you say you schedule everything, what does that actually look like?
It means I'm acutely aware that when I say yes to something, I'm at the very same time instantly saying no to something else.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't think I realized like the impact of that
Yeah.
until maybe in the last couple of years. Because when you're first getting started, it's very yes to everything.
Oh no, you have to. You have to say
yes.
yes to everything because you don't want to say no to the opportunity.
So you don't realize the impact of saying what you're saying no to at that
That's it.
time.
That's it.
You and I, well, you're further ahead than me, but you and I think really feel like the impact of saying yes now means saying no because it's
Yeah.
feeling much more like you're being pulled in different directions.
What happens though is this, and it's beautiful. When you're acutely aware of that and you start doing it regularly, you realize that the things that you're saying yes to
Yeah.
are so much more powerful.
Oh, and they're
more
exciting.
important. Yeah, and they're more important to your life and your growth and your work and your family
Yeah.
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, this is a good example actually, because I was like, I think I'm gonna have Chris try to deliver in a different way the same thing that I've been trying to tell you, right? And we're gonna schedule it for 4:30 at Social Media Marketing World, and we're gonna fit it in. And it was so hard just for us to sit here, not be talking to a bunch of people, but because it was on my calendar, and I knew like this is the only time I'm gonna be able to see my British friend for a while, to be able to have this moment I would not be able to document otherwise.
Yep.
If I don't draw the line there, no one's gonna do it for me. And the same goes for everything else. If it's writing a blog post and you need a half hour, or if it's
Yep.
working out and you need an hour, blocking it out. Do you do blocking the same way that I do blocking, like literally
Yeah,
like
I block
remove
every
the time?
single minute and like 15 minutes for social on the calendar.
Yeah.
20 minutes for email on the calendar. By the way, I only check email after lunch. I
Oh,
don't do it
yeah.
in the morning. Creative work first.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And you know, half an hour for exercise. I hate exercising.
Me too.
But I do it because I know it's good for me, and
Yeah.
I'll be around longer because of the result, right?
How often is Charlie an item that you block on your calendar?
Every single day.
Who's Charlie?
My son.
Yeah. Yeah. So Charlie is literally on your calendar, right? And it could be a variable amount of time.
Yep.
Because I have this conversation a lot, and I'm not a parent, so I can't give that perspective of what it's like to block your time and be rigid with
Yeah.
your time. The rigidity has to have a scale, right? When you're a parent and
Oh,
the
yeah.
kid's a little bit of a variable. But don't you take Fridays off?
Well, I haven't worked Friday for 5 years.
Oh.
But
Is it Charlie? Is it called Charlie Day?
No, it's not. It's actually Wife Day.
Oh, okay. That's
because
good too.
Because he's at
That's-
school. He's at
Somebody
school.
needs to take notes on that.
No, he's at school, and so it's our time. You know, sometimes we'll just honestly just stay at home
Yeah.
and just veg out on Netflix, right? Some days we'll go out and have a yoga session together. Sometimes we'll go get juices. Sometimes we'll go to the movies. Whatever it is, it's
That's
just
like
me
the
and her.
coolest appointment
Yeah.
on the calendar ever.
It is,
It's just like
but-
anything like that.
But also that something that's very cool is the Monday and Thursday that I work, which is a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
I have that all blocked out because I know that's what I need to do to be like really productive in
Yeah.
those 4 days. But come 4 p.m. when Charlie gets home, nothing more on the calendar except, you know, Lego time,
Yeah.
Power Ranger time,
Oh my
Jedi.
gosh.
Jedi time is fun when we pretend to be Jedis.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not a thing I do.
You should start.
You
trying to be a
kind of,
Jedi.
your Instagram stories kind of make me want to get into Legos, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I'm like, I kind of want to build something. Thanks,
It's fun,
Chris.
right? It's fun.
So yes, this is a conversation that was two entrepreneurs, but you don't have to be one in order to follow this advice and get more done. Maybe you just are someone who wants to say yes to more exciting things you want to do in your life. We're going to have to do some things we have to do in order to make that happen. But as Chris said, time management that works is simply being acutely aware of the time that you have and the things you got to get done. And we all have it. We can all find it somewhere. It's just a matter of how and keeping track of it with your calendar. So I want to put this back on you. Just tell me how you're feeling about this. How are you able to get more done that maybe you haven't identified after this chat? Maybe some things have popped up. Have you had that mindset shift? Is it still difficult for you to make that shift of why am I planning? Why am I using my calendar? To how can I best use every moment of time? Share your thoughts on that. What breakthroughs have you had and how are you still struggling in the comments below? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I gotta know if you like it so we can make more stuff like this, and also subscribe if you are into this time management productivity thing, because we tend to do a lot of that around here. Also, I will leave a link to Chris's channel. He is crushing it on YouTube. I'm so excited for him. And also, you probably want to check out his book. You might notice somebody that's in it. And this is Rise of the Youpreneur, so definitely check the book out as well. I'll leave a link in the description. That's all for today, socials. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, and remember to continue to go after the life that you want. Cheers.